Hi everyone, tonight we're going to talk about naps, but not in the way you think. Picture this. It's 12:48 p.m. and you've just demolished a beautiful lunch. Maybe a grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup, or something heavier like roast beef and mashed potatoes. You're full. The dishes are still in the sink, the TV's humming some mindless rerun in the background, and that recliner is calling your name like a siren on the rocks. You think, a little nap won't hurt. You recline, close your eyes, and drift off. Here's the bad news. You just committed the first cardinal sin of napping, going horizontal right after eating. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I'm doing here. Whether you're in Edmonton or Hanoi, this info could seriously change the game for you. Now turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's get started tonight. See, your body is basically hosting a post-lunch rave in your digestive tract. The stomach is breaking stuff down, the pancreas is pumping out enzymes, and your liver's in full chemistry lab mode. All of this requires optimal blood flow and gravity to work properly. The moment you lie flat, especially as you get older, you throw a wrench in the system. Let me be blunt. For seniors, this isn't just a little reflux. It's a creeping threat. The lower esophageal sphincter, aka the trap door between your esophagus and your stomach, gets flimsier with age. It's like trying to hold back a tsunami with a soggy cardboard box. So when you nap right after lunch, stomach acid can, and often does, leak back up. Welcome to the world of chronic heartburn, throat irritation, and in some cases, long-term conditions like esophagitis or Barrett's esophagus. You might be thinking, but I don't feel anything. That's the sneaky part. Silent reflux doesn't always announce itself with burning. Sometimes it just leaves a sore throat, or a raspy voice, or that weird post-nap headache you chalk up to getting older. Let me tell you about my uncle. Let's call him Bob. Bob's 72, and for years his daily routine was to nap on the couch immediately after lunch. Not reclined, flat, like a starfish. He thought it was good for digestion, said it helped settle the food. Meanwhile, his voice kept getting hoarser, he felt foggy by 3 p.m., and acid reflux. He just popped antacids like candy. When a doctor finally told him to wait 45 minutes post-meal before lying down and to nap in a slightly upright position, things changed. Fast. The sore throat vanished. The fog lifted. He even lost a few pounds, not from dieting, just from his system not being in distress 24/7. Another fact for you. Gravity is not just a force, it's your digestive BFF. That's why cultures that take siestas usually nap in hammocks or chairs, angled, elevated, not flat on a lazy boy. And they don't do it immediately after eating either. It's strategic. Academic research backs this up. According to recent gastroenterological studies, the timing of sleep relative to food intake is a major factor in acid-related conditions, especially when meals are high in fat or carbs, both of which delay gastric emptying. Translation: your food sits in your stomach longer, meaning reflux risk goes up exponentially. What helped me personally? After meals, I started taking a digestive stroll. Nothing major, just 5 to 10 minutes around the block or even pacing indoors. Then I'd sit upright with a book or soft music playing for another 30 minutes before considering a nap. When I do nap, I use a recliner tilted about 30-45 degrees, neck supported, knees elevated. I'm not going to lie, it feels like being swaddled in dignity. And here's some real wisdom my grandmother once told me. Sleep isn't a getaway car, it's a gardener. It either plants flowers or weeds, depending on when and how you call it. Let that settle. So here's your takeaway. Stop face planting into naps the moment your plate's empty. Give your body time to process. Use gravity to your advantage. Delay the flop, or at least prop yourself up. That small change could save you from a world of avoidable issues later. If you're watching and nodding along, comment 1, so I know you're still here with me. And if this hit a little too close to home, good. That's the point. Let's not let nap habits nibble away at our health like termites behind drywall. Let's talk about the second nap mistake. Those long, drawn-out, Netflix season-length naps that sneak up on you and knock out half your afternoon. Look, I get it. A short nap feels like magic. You wake up a little groggy, stretch your arms, and boom, you're good to go. But when that 20-minute power nap turns into a 90-minute odyssey where you wake up drooling, confused, and convinced it's 1987, that's a problem. See, the sweet spot for a nap, especially for older adults, is between 20 and 30 minutes. That's it. Once you cross that 45-minute mark, your brain dips into deeper sleep cycles. Think stages 3 and 4, where dreams start swirling and brainwaves slow to that syrupy tempo. Waking up during these stages is like trying to pull a car out of molasses. That grogginess, that's called sleep inertia, and it hits harder the older you get. Quick fact, according to the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, habitual long nappers, those who snooze for more than an hour during the day, are significantly more likely to show early signs of cognitive decline. Translation: long naps don't just waste your day, they could be rewiring your brain in ways you don't want. I learned this the hard way. For a while, I was taking 2-hour siestas that turned into something suspiciously close to accidental hibernation. I'd wake up sluggish, disoriented, and somehow hungrier than before I slept. My memory was getting patchy. I blamed it on age, stress, the economy, anything but my nap habits. It wasn't until I started setting a literal egg timer before I lay down that things changed. And no, it's not just about feeling groggy. There's more under the hood. Longer naps have been tied to disrupted circadian rhythms. That's your body's internal clock, the same one that tells you when to eat, sleep, and stay alert. Throw it off with an unplanned 90-minute nap at 4 p.m., and guess what? You'll be staring at the ceiling until midnight. Let me paint a picture. My friend Irene, she's 81 and sharp as a tack, or at least she used to be. She started taking long afternoon naps every day. Not on purpose, mind you, just drifting off while reading, then waking up 2 hours later. Her energy dipped, she got cranky, and worst of all, she started forgetting words mid-sentence. Her daughter thought it was early dementia. Turns out, sleep apnea and vitamin D deficiency, masked by those long naps. After addressing both, Irene cut her naps to 25 minutes. Now she's back to doing Sudoku like a damn ninja. Here's the kicker. If you consistently need long naps, that's not normal. That's your body yelling that something else is broken. Nighttime sleep, nutrition, even mild depression. A nap shouldn't be your body's plan A for survival. It should be a tactical boost, not a rescue mission. There's also an emotional side to this. When you're older, especially if you live alone or you're less socially active, the lines blur. A nap becomes an escape from loneliness. You start looking forward to sleep the way people look forward to a vacation. That's not rest, that's retreat. And it slowly chips away at your sense of vitality. Quick tangent. Did you know dolphins sleep with half their brain awake? Yeah. One side sleeps, the other stays alert for predators. I'm not saying we should go full flipper here, but there's something to be said for staying conscious about your rest, not letting it turn into unconscious coping. So, here's what I do now. I call it my nap pact. 1. No nap longer than 30 minutes. 2. Not after 3 p.m. And 3. No nap if I haven't moved my body for at least 10 minutes beforehand. It makes sure I'm actually tired, not just bored or procrastinating. And let's get real. Sometimes what we call fatigue is just dehydration, a blood sugar dip, or needing to stand up and stretch. Your nap isn't a solution if you're using it to fix the wrong problem. That old saying, sleep when you're dead? Yeah, don't take it literally. But don't let naps steal from the life you've still got left to live either. So if this part resonates with you, drop a 2 in the comments. I want to know who's been guilty of the 2-hour coma and who's ready to reset. Set your timer. Choose rest, not shutdown. Because your brain deserves better than being shoved into hibernation mode with a crusty pillow and a blanket full of regrets. Ah yes, the mighty recliner. That sacred throne of comfort, engineered by some demigod of upholstery to cradle your tired bones like a lullaby. I used to worship mine. Heck, I even named it Harold the recliner. We had a routine. Post-lunch, I'd sink into him with my TV remote in one hand and half a granola bar in the other. He tilted back, I drifted off, and life felt manageable. But here's the ugly truth. That recliner? He was silently plotting against my health. See, part 3 is all about what I call the recliner trap, where naps in semi-reclined positions start causing actual damage. Not in some dramatic fall off the cliff kind of way, but like termites. Quiet, slow, devastating if ignored. Let's break this down. First, posture. When you nap in a recliner, you're not lying flat, but you're also not sitting upright. Your neck is usually at some weird angle, your knees are slightly bent, and your lower back twisted just enough to mess things up over time. And if you think tossing a throw pillow behind your head makes it ergonomic, that's cute. It doesn't. Your diaphragm, aka the muscle MVP of breathing, can't expand properly in this bent, squished posture. What that means: shallow breaths, less oxygen, more fatigue. Over time, that adds up. Poor oxygenation has been linked to everything from brain fog to cardiovascular strain. For older adults, this is not just uncomfortable, it's risky. Let me give you a real example. Marvin, 76, retired factory supervisor, hardcore napper. Every afternoon, like clockwork, he'd fall asleep in his recliner while watching financial news. And every evening, his legs would swell, his hands would go numb, his neck, always stiff. When he finally saw a doctor, they discovered early spinal compression and signs of mild circulation issues in his lower limbs. The culprit wasn't some grand mystery, it was Marvin's daily nap position. Another biggie: blood flow. When your legs are bent in a recliner for extended periods, it restricts venous return. That's the fancy term for how your blood gets from your legs back to your heart. Without movement or elevation, blood pools in the legs. In severe cases, that increases the risk for deep vein thrombosis. Yup, DVT, those dangerous clots we usually associate with long-haul flights. And don't even get me started on the sneaky tension that builds in your shoulders from cradling your arms weirdly while dozing off. Ever wake up with one arm dead asleep? That's not just pins and needles. That's nerve compression. But it's not just about the body. Let's talk psychology. When you nap in a recliner in the middle of the living room with the TV muttering nonsense in the background, it doesn't feel like real sleep. It feels like, I gave up today. Over time, that subtle shift from intentional rest to unintentional withdrawal does something to your sense of control. You stop planning your day around things to do and start planning it around when you'll next shut down. It happened to me during the pandemic. My days got blurry. I'd nap in Herald mid-morning, then again in the afternoon. It wasn't even real tiredness. I was just zoning out, watching the ceiling fan, mind wandering. And the more I did it, the less motivated I was to get up and move, or call a friend, or, God forbid, go outside. Here's the part most people don't talk about. Sometimes that nap isn't about fatigue, it's about loneliness, or boredom, or feeling purposeless. And that recliner, it's just sitting there, ready to help you escape. So what do we do about it? First, nap with intention. If you must nap in a recliner, keep it under 30 minutes and set a timer. Support your neck properly. Get one of those U-shaped travel pillows or a firm rolled towel behind your cervical spine. Elevate your legs slightly, but avoid the full leg bend that cuts circulation. And for the love of posture, ditch that saggy throw pillow that's older than your grandkids. Better yet, nap in bed, flat, quiet, cool room, no distractions. It tells your body, hey, this is real rest, not just a random timeout. And movement matters. After waking, don't just shuffle to the kitchen. Stretch, roll your shoulders, walk around the block. Reboot your circulatory system. Give your joints a reason to stay loyal. Old age wisdom drop. The chair that holds you too long becomes a cage. That's what my grandfather used to say. He died at 92, sharp as a tack. Didn't own a recliner. Coincidence? Maybe, but maybe not. So, if you're still here, if you're sitting in your own recliner right now, take a moment. Ask yourself, am I napping to recharge or to disappear? If it's the latter, don't feel bad. Just get up, move, reclaim your afternoon. And comment 3 if you've ever been trapped by the recliner. No judgment, just solidarity. Let's talk about the nap that feels so right and messes you up so bad. The evening nap. Yeah, that sneaky 5:30 p.m. snooze after dinner. You didn't mean to fall asleep. You were just resting your eyes while the news played in the background. And suddenly it's 7:12 p.m. You don't know what year it is. your spaghetti's cold, and your entire sleep schedule is trashed. That's the danger of napping too close to bedtime. Here's the science. Your body's got this built-in timekeeper called the circadian rhythm. It regulates your sleep-wake cycle using hormones like melatonin, the sleepy one, and cortisol, the get-up-and-go one. Normally, as evening rolls in, your body ramps up melatonin, so by the time you hit 10 or 11 p.m., you're ready to knock out like a champ. But when you take a nap too late in the day, say anywhere between 4 and 7 p.m., you confuse the heck out of that system. Your body thinks, oh cool, we're sleeping now. I guess nighttime's canceled. And boom, melatonin production drops, sleep pressure resets, and come 10 p.m., you're lying in bed wired like a raccoon with a Red Bull. That sleep pressure I just mentioned, it's real. It's built up by a chemical called adenosine, which accumulates in your brain the longer you stay awake. The more adenosine, the sleepier you feel. But guess what wipes it out? You sleeping, even for a short while. So when you nap too close to bedtime, you're hitting the reset button on a system that was about to help you sleep deeply through the night. It's like pouring out your glass of tiredness right before bed and then wondering why you're not sleepy. Let me tell you about Dorothy. She's 74, retired nurse, runs a killer lemon loaf recipe, and used to take evening digest naps, as she called them. Every night, like clockwork, she'd doze off on the couch after dinner. Just 30 minutes, she said. But those 30 minutes turned into 45, then 60, then the whole evening was basically a slow descent into restless hell. She'd get up groggy, couldn't fall asleep until past midnight, and then felt exhausted the next morning. It was a vicious cycle. She stopped walking in the mornings, didn't go to church as often, and her mood dipped. Once she finally adjusted her naps to earlier in the day, around 1:30 or 2 p.m., everything changed. She fell asleep easier at night, started waking up before her alarm, and yes, the lemon loaf came back into production. Old age wisdom alert. Rest is for renewal, not delay. My dad used to say that, and it hits harder as we age. Because when we nap late, we're not buying energy. We're borrowing it from tomorrow's sleep. Now let's get technical for a sec. Older adults already experience changes in sleep architecture. Lighter sleep, more frequent waking, and less time spent in restorative slow-wave sleep. If you're napping late and fragmenting your sleep even further, you're basically draining your long-term brain health. Studies show fragmented sleep is linked to memory loss, higher fall risk, cardiovascular issues, and mood disorders like depression and anxiety. And let's not forget how this bleeds into your social and mental life. You miss evening phone calls with family or Zoom chats with your grandkids. You stop doing the puzzle or reading your book because you're just too wiped. Evening naps rob you of the rituals that help us age well. So here's the solution, simple but powerful. Cut off your nap window at 3 p.m. latest. Treat it like caffeine. No naps after mid-afternoon. Set a hard limit. If you feel tired around 5 or 6, stand up. Move around. Call someone. Drink water. Anything but lying down. Here's a hack I use. I replaced my late nap with what I call a fake nap. I dim the lights, play lo-fi music or rain sounds, and lie down on the couch but keep my eyes open. It's basically a meditation disguised as a nap. I feel rested, but I don't mess with my brain's clock. It's like fooling your body into thinking it got the goods without wrecking your night. And a fun random fact to throw in. In Japan, they have a word, inamuri, for dozing off in public or at work. It literally means being present while sleeping. It's not considered lazy, it's respected. But notice the key there, it's daytime. Not 7 p.m., faceplant into a blanket burrito. Evening naps might feel comforting, familiar, a reward for a long day. But trust me, they're a wolf in sheep's clothing. And if you're wondering why you're up at 2 a.m. doom scrolling or replaying every life choice you've ever made, maybe it's time to look back at what you were doing at 6 p.m. Drop a 4 in the comments if you've been betrayed by the post-dinner nap. We've all been there. No shame. Just don't make it a habit. Your future self is counting on your present self to respect the clock. Let's talk about the stage your nap is set on. No, not metaphorically. I mean literally. The room, the lights, the sound, the chair, the vibe. Because here's the not-so-fun truth. Napping in the wrong environment is like trying to charge your phone in a thunderstorm. You might get power, but more often, you're just messing up the circuits. I used to think I could nap anywhere. Couch? Yep. Car with the engine running? Sure. Backyard lawn chair next to a barking dog and 3 wind chimes? Absolutely. But I never woke up feeling good. Usually, I felt like I'd just come back from a 3-hour tour of purgatory, groggy, disoriented, and needing more coffee than a barista at 6 a.m. The problem wasn't that I was napping, it was how and where. Your nap environment is the silent architect of your rest. It shapes everything, your brain waves, your breathing, your blood pressure. And if it's not right, you may as well be staring at the ceiling. Let's break it down. Light, the number one villain. Your eyelids are not blackout curtains, okay? Light, especially blue light from screens or sunlight blasting through the window, triggers your brain to stay alert. Even when your eyes are closed, your brain picks up on brightness and suppresses melatonin, that lovely little hormone that tells your body it's bedtime. You lie there thinking you're resting, but your brain is in full-on do not power down mode. So now I nap with blackout curtains, or an eye mask if I'm in a shared space. I also dim the lights if I can. No TV on in the background. I'm not trying to nap with a game show yelling numbers at me. It's not restful, it's chaos. Noise, second biggest saboteur. You might think your brain's tuned out the sound of traffic or the dishwasher or your neighbor's poodle having a meltdown, but it hasn't. Even low-level ambient noise can prevent your brain from dipping into those deeper, more restorative sleep stages. It keeps you bobbing on the surface like a cork in a wave pool. You're not asleep, you're just paused. I started using soft instrumental music, just low enough to mask street noise but not enough to wake me. Some people love white noise. Some swear by nature sounds, rainfall, forest wind, waves. The point is, ditch the background chaos and choose something neutral and rhythmic. Temperature. This one's overlooked. Your body needs to drop a degree or two in core temperature to fall asleep. That's why we feel sleepy when it's cool and alert when we're hot. But if you nap in a sauna-like living room at 3 p.m., forget it. You're not snoozing. You're simmering. Ideal nap temp? Somewhere between 60 and 60 cm, 16 to 19 C. Throw on a light blanket if needed, but avoid heavy quilts that turn you into a baked potato. If your room's too warm, open a window or use a fan. A cool room, a faster drop into real sleep. Posture and support. Let me just say this with love. Your couch is not a chiropractor. That slouchy, soft, neck-twisting position you contort yourself into while trying to nap, it's doing you dirty. Bad posture during naps leads to headaches, back stiffness, poor circulation, and sometimes numb limbs. It's not just, oh, I slept funny. It's a cumulative toll that builds every time you nap like a twisted pretzel. So I invested in a proper pillow, supportive, firm, ergonomic. If I nap in a chair, I use a lumbar cushion and a neck roll. I also make sure my feet aren't dangling like a marionette. Flat feet, straight spine, elevated knees if possible. It's not overkill, it's science. And here's the deeper layer no one talks about. Environment cues the brain. You know how you walk into a dark bedroom and your body knows it's sleep time? That's not magic, that's conditioning. But when you nap in a bright, loud room where you also eat, scroll TikTok, and fold laundry, your brain has no idea what's going on. It's like, are we resting? Are we multitasking? Are we safe? Should we be doing something else? You confuse your system. Take George. He's 77, ex-mail carrier, big fan of naps. Used to doze off in his recliner in front of an open window, TV blasting, blinds wide open. Every time he woke up, he was cranky, stiff-necked, and needed caffeine just to function. When a sleep specialist told him to treat his nap like mini nighttime, he changed everything. Closed the blinds, turned off the TV, played some calm jazz, kept his naps under 30 minutes. Now, he says he wakes up from naps feeling clear, like windshield wipers just swipe my brain. Old age wisdom moment. Rest is a skill, so is stillness. If your nap environment is junky, your nap will be junky. No matter how tired you are, you can't out-snooze a bad setup. So here's your checklist. Dim the lights, quiet the room, set a cool temperature, support your spine. Make your nap sacred. Protect it like it's a ceremony, because it kind of is. If you've ever woken up from a nap feeling worse than when you started, drop a 5 in the comments. Been there. Fixed it. You can too. There came a point where I started asking myself, why am I even napping this much? I mean, sure, everyone gets tired sometimes, but this was different. It wasn't physical exhaustion. It was like my soul needed a soft reboot. And the more I paid attention, the more I realized I wasn't just napping for rest. I was napping to hide. This is where we dive into the sixth nap mistake, using naps as a cover for deeper issues. Let's be honest. Not all naps are created equal. Some are tactical, refreshing little boosts. Others, they're just a band-aid over a bullet hole. And for a lot of older adults, including me at one point, it becomes easy to mistake persistent fatigue for just getting older, when in reality it's a signal, one we often ignore. Let me introduce you to Evelyn. She's 79, former school teacher, and sharp as a tack. Or she was. Lately, she's been napping twice a day, an hour in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. When asked, and she shrugged, said, "Just getting old, I guess." But beneath that shrug was a weariness that sleep alone couldn't fix. Her daughter noticed something else. Evelyn wasn't cooking as much. She stopped reading, barely left the house. Eventually, a visit to the doctor revealed a triple whammy: low iron, mild depression, and undiagnosed sleep apnea. That's the thing. When naps start replacing life, they're no longer helping. They're hiding something. For me, it was grief. I didn't know that at the time. But after my dog died, I started sleeping more during the day. I thought I was just tired, but really I was avoiding feelings. And my nap became a cushion against reality. Soft, quiet, numbing. Let's be real. There's a difference between being tired and being drained. Fatigue that chases you down day after day, regardless of how much you nap, that's not normal aging. That's a red flag. And yet we often dismiss it. We say, "I'm just slowing down," or "I don't have much going on anyway." But that's like hearing your car screech every time you turn and saying, "Well, I guess that's just how it drives now." You wouldn't ignore your car like that. So why ignore your body? Here's a spicy academic phrase for you: nap-dependent fatigue masking. It's when chronic daytime tiredness leads to a dependency on napping, which in turn masks treatable health conditions. It's becoming a real issue among seniors, especially those living alone. Naps become a routine escape, but they also keep you from realizing you need actual support. Let's throw in a random fact. In medieval Europe, sleep wasn't even one big block. People slept in 2 shifts, with a first sleep and second sleep, broken up by an hour or two in the middle of the night for prayer, snacks, or ahem marital activities. The point is, sleep has always had layers. It's never just about being unconscious. It's about what you're processing emotionally and physically. When I finally started tracking why I napped, when I actually needed the rest versus when I was just emotionally tapped out, I saw patterns. Days when I felt sad or disconnected or overwhelmed by even small chores. Boom, nap craving. Days when I exercised, laughed, talked to a friend. No nap needed. I started writing down every time I felt the urge to nap and rated my sleep the night before, my mood, and what I'd eaten. After 2 weeks, it was clear. My nap urges weren't physical. They were emotional. And that was hard to admit. But once I did, I changed things. Instead of napping, I started calling someone. Sometimes just to say hi. Sometimes to talk about nothing. Other times, I forced myself to sit outside in the sun for 15 minutes. No phone. Just birds and breeze. My energy shifted, slowly but surely. This isn't me saying never nap. It's me saying, don't let naps be your only coping mechanism. If you're napping daily for more than 45 minutes and still waking up tired, ask yourself, am I avoiding something? Is my sleep at night broken? Could I be dealing with undiagnosed depression, nutrient deficiencies, a hormonal imbalance? Because here's the good news. You can fix it, but only if you stop using naps to smother the signal. Let them be what they're meant to be: restoration, not retreat. There's courage in checking in with yourself. There's bravery in saying, maybe this isn't normal for me. And there's healing in choosing activity over avoidance, even if that activity is just standing in the sunlight with a glass of water. So tell me, have your naps become more like mini exits from life? If yes, comment 6. Not for shame, for awareness. You're not alone. And it's never too late to shift from hiding to healing. So now that we've dragged our nap mistakes into the daylight and stared them dead in the eye, you're probably thinking, okay, smart guy, then how should I nap? Well, welcome to the part where I tell you how I completely rebuilt my nap game from the ground up and why it worked. Let's be clear. Napping is not evil. It's not lazy. It's not weak. When done right, it's like a cheat code for your brain and body. But you need to treat it like a ritual, not a random crash and burn. Here's how I optimize my nap habits to function like a human again, and you can too. Rule 1, time it like a surgeon. There's a perfect window for napping, and it's between 1 and 3 p.m. That's when most people experience a natural dip in energy. Your body's circadian rhythm dips slightly after lunch. It's not because you're old or boring or lazy, it's biology. So I picked my nap window and stuck to it. Even if I didn't nap every day, I carved out that time for rest. Not sleep necessarily, but decompression. No social calls, no emails, no errands. Just me and that sweet sliver of calm. Rule 2, set a hard stop. I now use a 27-minute timer. Why 27? Because 30 felt too round, and 25 felt like I was cheating myself. But here's the real reason. Under 30 minutes, your brain mostly stays in the lighter sleep stages, N1 and N2. You wake up feeling sharper, more alert. If you drift too deep into stage N3, aka slow wave sleep, you hit the fog zone. That's called sleep inertia. I already mentioned it earlier, but trust me, nothing says nap fail like waking up feeling like you've aged 4 years and lost all sense of language. Rule 3, prep your space every single time. Even if I'm just taking a short nap, I do a little pregame ritual. Curtains drawn, phone on silent, blanket ready, music on low, something wordless, ambient, or nature sounds. Basically, I set the tone like I'm hosting a spa session for one. A good nap isn't just about sleep. It's about creating a vibe. If you nap in chaos, you wake up in chaos. You ever fall asleep during a loud action movie and wake up ready to punch someone? Yeah, don't do that. Rule 4, naps don't replace movement. If I nap, I earn it with at least 10 minutes of light movement beforehand. A walk, some light stretching, a dance to a nostalgic song from 1978. Something to activate my body. Otherwise, I'm not actually tired. I'm just inert. And here's the wild part. Sometimes after I move, I don't need the nap anymore. I just needed to shake the dust off my brain. Rule 5, check in with yourself. Before I nap, I always ask, what do I really need right now? If the answer is, I'm actually hungry, or I'm overwhelmed, or I feel lonely, then I don't nap. I address that need instead, because I've learned not to sedate my emotions with sleep. And hey, sometimes I still want to nap even after that check-in. That's fine, but it's conscious, not autopilot. Let's talk nap upgrades. I invested in a better pillow. I got a small fan for white noise. I put a sticky note on my lamp that says, only 30 minutes, champ, because even I forget sometimes. There's also this technique I learned called the caffeine nap. Wild stuff. You drink a small cup of coffee right before a 20-minute nap. Caffeine takes about 20-30 minutes to kick in, so by the time you wake up, you get a double boost. Rest plus alertness. It's like hacking the matrix with a pillow. Do I do this every day? Nah, only when I've got something big coming up, meetings, presentations, or if I stayed up too late watching conspiracy theory documentaries about owls. Don't ask. Old age wisdom moment. Rest, when chosen wisely, will pay you back with interest. That's from my Aunt Rita. She lived to 96 and knitted until the day before she passed. She said naps were like pressing the refresh button on her mind, but she never let them become the escape button. Now, a fun adjacent fact. NASA did a study on naps. Yeah, NASA. Turns out astronauts who napped for about 26 minutes saw a 34% increase in performance and a 54% increase in alertness. If it's good enough for people orbiting Earth in a tin can, it's good enough for us down here with our gravity and bad knees. So here's your nap upgrade checklist. Nap between 1 to 3 p.m., set a 25-30-minute timer, dim the lights, reduce noise, support your neck and lower back. Move first, nap after. Check your why before you lie down. Drop a 7 in the comments if you're committing to the nap lifestyle. On purpose with power, not as a passive accident. This is your nap renaissance. Nap like you mean it. It's funny how something as simple as a nap can teach you so much about your life. I used to think sleep was this biological checkbox, something you did because your body couldn't go anymore. But now, it feels more like a conversation with myself, one that starts with the question, am I giving myself what I need or just what's easy? That's the big nap rethink. The final piece of this puzzle. See, I don't nap the same way anymore. I don't flop down out of boredom. I don't lie flat on the couch with the TV blaring reruns of 1980s courtroom dramas while I pretend it's helping me unwind. I nap like I'm doing maintenance on a classic car, intentionally, carefully, with tools, and I always check the engine first. Let me walk you through what that actually looks like now. Midday hits, and if I'm feeling the energy dip, which happens more often as I get older, I pause, literally. I stop whatever I'm doing, put down my phone, and check in with myself. Not just, am I tired, but also, did I eat? Did I drink enough water? Have I moved today? Did I speak to another human being in the last 6 hours? That checklist tells me everything. If the answer to all of the above is, yeah, I'm good, and I still feel that warm, velvety pull behind my eyes, I nap, but never by default. There's also something incredibly grounding about owning your routine. When you're young, your schedule gets yanked around by school, work, deadlines, chaos. But in this chapter of life, where you're supposedly free, you have to create your own structure. Otherwise, you float, and naps, weirdly enough, can anchor you. My nap ritual has become a sacred slice of self-care. I keep my space calm. My phone goes in another room. I put a warm washcloth over my eyes sometimes. I breathe deeply. And when I wake up, gently with no blaring alarms, I drink a glass of water, stretch, and stand outside for 5 minutes. That's it. That's the ritual. And you know what's wild? I rarely feel groggy now because I've built naps around restoration, not escape. Here's something else I've realized. Good naps make you more present, not less. After a solid 20-minute reset, I'm sharper. My memory works better. I don't lose track of conversations. I laugh more. I notice little things. Bird song, how the light hits the table, the way the dog twitches in his sleep. It's like someone turned up the saturation on the world. And it's made me better socially, too. I don't bail on plans because I'm tired at 4 p.m. I don't zone out mid-sentence. I show up, fully. Now here's something beautiful. I started sharing my nap habits with others. Friends, neighbors, even my grumpy cousin who thinks sleep is for the weak. I told them what I learned. Some rolled their eyes, but a few tried it. And slowly their stories started to mirror mine. I don't feel like garbage after naps anymore. I haven't had heartburn in weeks. I started walking again. You never know what one small shift can spark. So here's the final checklist for reclaiming your nap life. Stop treating naps like guilty pleasures. They're tools. Pay attention to what they might be covering up. Honor your body's signals, but interpret them with care. Build a ritual. Make it consistent. Make it sacred. Share it. Model it. Help others see rest as strength, not surrender. And if no one's told you this today, it's okay to rest. It's not lazy. It's not wasteful. When you do it with intention, it makes everything better. Your focus, your health, your heart. I want to leave you with this image. You're lying down in a dark, quiet room. A soft breeze is moving through the curtains. Your breathing is steady. There's nothing urgent, nothing loud, just stillness and peace. The kind you don't have to earn, the kind you deserve, just by being alive, awake, and here. Soften your shoulders. Loosen your jaw. Let go of the pressure to be productive every second of the day. Your nap isn't stealing from your life. It's giving it back. Drop a 8 in the comments if this whole series opened your eyes, or close them in the best way. And now breathe in and out. You're safe. You're seen. You're allowed to rest.